Hello,
Hello.
we're the TricitiesKnit podcast, and this is episode 28.
And we're gonna, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Jenny. If you're joining us for the first time, thanks for joining us. And it's actually a really good episode to join us. If you are a repeat viewer, thank you for staying with us. We are a knitting podcast located in Vancouver, Canada. We're actually close to Vancouver, Canada. We like to knit, we like to design, and talk about yarn and techniques and
Stuff about knitting.
yeah, and stuff about knitting. Yeah. So, what are we talking about today?
Today we're gonna talk about our yoke sweaters, the color work and some other yoke texture or lacy yoke, doesn't matter. The construction would be the yoke.
Yeah, you're gonna talk about the non-color work because I've never made a non-color work yoke. So you know more about the the details of the pitfalls and this is going to be a short episode because we are in a coffee shop and
we don't have
have a lot of time to record today, but we will give you a code for our knit along, so keep watching, stay with us. But with
HAT knit along.
Yeah, HAT knit along.
Yearly.
Yeah. Third. It's our third.
Yeah.
But for the yokes,
let's talk about the
General construction,
how you start and
so what is a yoke sweater? Like a lot of people, right now they seem to be really all over Instagram. They seem to be all over the knitting world. A yoke sweater is basically a circular yoke sweater that looks like a cone, and then the body, whatever you want it to be, but the decreases or increases, your shaping is equally distributed throughout the yoke, throughout your top part, this part here, as opposed to raglan or contiguous or whatever. You can knit them bottom up or top down. It's really up to you. It doesn't matter. It's a matter of whether you prefer the look of increases or decreases. But I don't really see any other reason to knit bottom up. I always knit mine top down.
I think the reason why people still like doing the bottom up because the creases looks nicer.
So that's pretty much a lot of people.
But I never tried to do the bottom up, so I don't know. For me, it doesn't matter how you increasing the decrease.
There's actually no such thing as invisible decrease. They look nice, I have to admit. So it's up to you if you want, to start at the bottom hem and then work your body, work your sleeves separately, cast on, and then put them all together and then decrease. So you're done with the boring part first, and then you have the exciting yoke at the end. The other way around, you would cast on at the neck, do your increases, do your color work, and then split sleeves from the body. And you left your boring part to the end. So it's just really up to you what you want to do. All of my yoke sweaters, I made 3 this year, none of which is with me at the moment. But believe it or not, I'm still wearing this as an old pattern of mine. They're all color work. She has all kinds of yoke sweaters. So
I do color work and I do texture, and recently my 2 summer tops were lacy yoke. And about the bottom up, so I found for the cables and for some complex lace, it's easier to make decreases than increases, but maybe it's just me, but I didn't try it, but it looks
looks like a tassel. So you've got your stitches, and then you know what you're working with, and you can maneuver them into cables or whatever. So that's definitely I've never done that. I've never tried a cable pullover bottom up, so I don't know, but
someone from the designer, they made like yoke bottom up, but just from the middle, and then knit the body top down. And it's not a bad solution.
It's not a bad solution if you prefer kind of like a hybrid. Yeah.
So if you like decreases, so you can try. But for me, the provisional custom is the biggest hassle.
Oh, short rows. I forgot about short rows. So what I described earlier was the basic. Cast on here, have your increases split or bottom up, join sleeves and body, and then gradually decrease and come to the neck. You can also use short rows to lift the back. It's optional though, because traditional lapapatias, this is how you pronounce it, lapapatia, apparently, actually don't have them. So it's really up to you. And Elizabeth Zimmerman in her, the book that everybody reads, she doesn't have them either. But if you want a better fit, you can either do them right after your neck rib, or you can do them after the color work.
It depends on your pattern.
Depends on the pattern, because if you have something happening, a lot of things happening here and something happening after, then you probably want to do it right at the beginning where you have just stockinette. So the ideal place to do your short rows is stockinette. That's where your short rows are not going to show. You have stripes, if you have color work, this is probably not the best place to do your short rows. And you only need 2 or 4 or whatever. So it's not really... I've done, this sweater has them right at the beginning, my other patterns have them at the end. It really makes no difference, to be honest. It's just depends, the fit is the same. As long as you're,
what you want to display on your yoke, so and how the pattern continue down to the body. So okay, so...
Oh, and we actually think it's the easiest type of sweater to knit.
Yes. It's true.
It's
the construction, first of all, you don't need to worry about when you cast on, you don't need to worry about the sleeves and body, how many stitches for sleeves, for me it's easier, like you just measure your neck or measure your neckline and calculate the number of stitches, go ahead, and that's it. And for me, I found the best, it depends again on the pattern. The best increases it's after 2 stitches, after 3 stitches, after 4 stitches, and after 5 stitches. Doesn't matter about the yarn thickness.
Also, as far as increases or shaping, you know what? I'll call it shaping because different people do different things. You want to do your most drastic shaping up here,
at the beginning,
at the beginning or at the end, depending whether you do bottom up or top down. Because human body, as you can see, I mean, I have square shoulders, but even somebody with more slanted shoulder, your most drastic change is right here. When you get to this part, you don't need to do anything here. I mean, you can increase, a little bit. You can
give it last time, you can increase
maybe 10% or 15% of your total stitch count, but the most
important
change, what's the word for it? Acceleration in terms of physics is happening right here, because you're accelerating this way, not
slowly.
So you say you cast on 100 stitches. In the next round, or after rib, you should probably do knit 2, or even some designers even do knit 1, make 1, knit 1, make 1, or knit 2, make 1.
So usually I do after ribbing. My very first increase, it's just after ribbing, and then 3-4 rounds, no more than the second one. The third can be done a little bit later, but not wait.
I usually have 5 increase rows to get the width I need here. But different patterns do it differently, and depending on what's going on in the pattern, that's just the general construction. And also, if you're really interested in yoke sweaters, you should definitely give Elizabeth Zimmerman EZ method a try. A lot of designers don't follow the method, and that's fine. And I mean, I don't. But I think it gives a good indication of what the percentages should be roughly. And it's a very forgiving type of a sweater, as long as you increase here drastically or decrease. This is the most important part, is right here. Once you get here, it's very forgiving. You can do 4 rounds, you can do 5 or 6. It's all kind of just lays nicely, as long as you give it enough stitch count to lay nicely. Because if you didn't add enough stitches, you can have this. You can have this kind of
it will
standing up collar like that, and the minute you see this, you have to rip it out because it's not gonna lay flat, and there's nothing you're gonna do. You need enough stitch count to lay flat. I think that's pretty much the only the only difficulty that somebody new might have.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So the other problem is the color work.
Tension.
Yeah. So yeah.
What do you think about tension?
So we discussed just before
filming, yeah.
Starting our episode, we're discussing how we can advise people of how to keep the tension. It's, in my opinion, and I think Jenny agrees with me, it's only practice. So if your tension in regular knitting is good, so for you to switch to the color work would be no problem. But I would advise, don't start with a sweater. Start with easy, it's a hat, and start with small patterns, small 2 stitch pattern, okay, maybe 4 stitch repeat, but and don't, like, it should be simple form, like square or triangle. Don't try something fancy yet if you don't know how to, or if you never ever knit a color work. So this would be my advice. Jenny said, and usually in the patterns they suggested to have a number of needle bigger, but I never do this, never, and I never ever have a problem.
It really depends on your comfort with color work. This was my first color work project 6 years ago.
So you did take...
I went up a needle size because this was my first project. But then somebody on Instagram mentioned this, or Ravelry group, I forget, is that now you've got a problem is how to not have it too loose.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So it really depends. What I would suggest, and this is, I brought something that I started especially for this podcast. I'm going to have this as a pattern probably in December at some point. It's a quick hat. What I would do, and this is pretty selfish because I just wanted to have a black hat. I took my leftovers from my Tweety, from my fog sweater, the bulky fog sweater. Take bulky yarn. Don't care about the brand. Just take bulky yarn, okay? 2 colors. Take a pattern that has small distance between the colors. So you're not going to have 8, 10 stitches that you're going to breaks, okay? Small, and then practice your tension on this. And what I like to do also, because I'm a perfectionist, is when I'm working color work, every so often I'll stop and I'll double check. What it looks like. That is my trick.
I'm doing the same.
Yeah. So if you're really perfectionist, this is what I like to do. And the thing is, keep it slightly looser, and then double check. Say you have a round like this, I usually stop twice or 3 times to double check whether it's, and then at the stage where you can tighten it a little bit, because the thing is, if it's too tight, that's it. You can't do anything. If it's too loose, you can adjust it, but if it's too tight, you have to undo. It doesn't.
Loose doesn't look good as well. So you should.
But that's why you
just
stop.
Right.
Yeah, that's why you stop and tighten it a little bit, in order to not. Because if it's too loose, then next round you're going to see these long stitches. But at the end of the day, it's just practice. So I would suggest, don't delve into a sweater. Take a simple pattern, bulky yarn, 2 colors, and I don't tangle my colors, so I would put 1 color on the left and 1 color on the right, and never twist them together. I always keep them separate, and try doing a simple pattern. Don't dive into one of these patterns that has 3 colors per row with like
for the novice knitters. I advise only 2 colors only. Never take more than 2 colors.
I actually like 2 colors look to wear. I'm not a huge fan of too much, but
color. I like.
But I mean, I'm starting to kind of like it. But anyways, that is what I would do. And if you feel like going up half a needle size would be a benefit, try it. I mean, try it. Like it might. I don't do it anymore.
I found for people who have a tendency to knit loose, you don't have to go with the bigger size.
That's it. When I made this, I was a tight knitter. I used to be much tighter knitter when I made this, and so that's why I went up half a needle size. But if you're a loose knitter, don't do it. So it's a lot of people ask for this. Tricks, tips, but at the end of the day, knitting is all about practice.
Yes,
the more you do it, the better you get, and the better you get the muscle memory and feel for your yarn and your tension. You know, like I get a lot of compliments on my tension from people even before blocking, and I don't ever take it as a compliment because I've been doing it since 1985. So if you're doing something since 1985,
then you know.
And if you're still, and if your tension's still bad, then
no, I don't believe.
I don't think that's ever happened.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody like that. So if you're practicing, then you know you'll get it. But this is my trick: is I just stop and tighten. If I see like something is out of a little bit too loose, then I tighten it. And so this is 80 stitches, so I will stop every 25 stitches or whatever
and check
and double check. And yes, colorwork does take a little bit longer. And I think it's for everybody though, because you have to, even if you're knitting with, like we're combined knitters, but when we're knitting around, we're just regular continental knitters. So we don't do this one color here and one color there.
I cannot have a tension, the good tension when I have two hands.
Do you know how to knit English?
Drawing?
Yeah.
No,
I don't either. So I don't, because I'm only knitting with two colors most of the time, I don't find that method is worth it for me. But if you know how to knit in both methods, this is something else you can try. As I've seen people, they've got,
Yeah. Oh, there are lots of YouTube video how to knit with both hands, and
And I've heard this expression also. I'm not doing color work right. There is no such thing as doing knitting right. It's what you have at the end that's counting.
Exactly.
If your final product looks good, then you've done a right job. If it doesn't look good, then you have to try some other method, because there's no such thing as right or wrong. Your product will show at the end whether you were right or wrong, because I don't catch my floats, I don't knit with two colors and two hands, I don't do any of that, but I've got something that looks nice. So it's just a matter of what you're comfortable with. I can start this and do a little demo, but you have to talk about texture. She's the one who does texture. What's the pitfall about the texture? Oh yeah, you know what? Let's mention the code. So we're gonna switch gears a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about our.
Yeah, you talk about this, and I'll start this and do a demo.
KAL. So we have time pressure. We have only 10 minutes left for the room. So the texture yoke, it's very easy. You don't have to worry about anything. And usually when I do the texture, it's a simple texture. It's combination of knit and purl, and I have breaks in between different texture combinations. So it's easy to increase, and it's nice to look. So
what about lace?
Nothing. Lace is a little bit tricky. Lace, you have to, so you take a pattern and you have to convert this pattern into increases or into the decreases. So this is the trick, and you have to. I like the big yoke, like it's all lace. So you have to incorporate those.
But if they're taking a pattern, that's not a problem. How do you adjust needle size for your lace part?
Oh no. Usually no. Usually I use the same. Why you have to adjust?
Well, because it's like more voluminous, right? Like it's more, lace is just like it's, you know what I mean? But your sweaters are
when you use the lace, you like it's a purpose to have this airy feeling. So it's no reason to change it to smaller needles. No, I never changed it to smaller needles. Maybe just for the ribbing, but I stopped.
Oh, that's interesting. See, I've never done that, so I don't. Okay, let's mention the code. Mention this, and then if I have time, I'll do the demo. If not, we can do it next next week. Or so. This is the third time that we're doing the hat knit along, and you guys will get the patterns for free. And the code is keep toasty, one word. Keep toasty, one word. And we have 2 brand new patterns as usual, like we did last year and the year before that. So they're both cable patterns, but they just showcase how different cables are. Like this is your typical cable garter. I made it. It's a garter stitch cable, but it's still a typical cable with a little bit of easy texture. And yours is
and the single stitch. No, it's not
clips.
slip.
No, cross.
It's a cross. Yeah.
So. Yeah, and you can do, I know you're going to ask, you can do both hats. The code applies to both hats. Both patterns will be out tonight. After this episode, I'm going to upload the episode and then release the pattern. And
tell again the code and the spelling. It's
keep toasty. Keep as in K-E-E-P, toasty, T-O-A-S-T-Y. Keep toasty.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. And I opened the thread already. There's not a lot of people there because there's not posted yet. But
and we publish pattern tonight.
Tonight, yeah. So after I upload, I got a lot of work ahead of me tonight. So I'm gonna upload this and then release the pattern. One from Natalie, one from me, and you guys come on over and join the knit along. We had a really good participation, so I'm looking forward to this as well this time. Yeah. And who doesn't need a hat for holiday season, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a good present.
Yeah, I would be happy if I got a present like this. And mine is knit with Sunshine Yarns, Merino Decay, and hers is
Room
Juliet. Juliet.
I think
Juliet. Yeah. Yeah. It's 2 vastly different yarns, but you know what? These hats would work with any. This is DK. This is worsted. Any random, DK or worsted skein. Just grab it.
And we're gonna knit each other.
Yes, we're gonna knit each other's
didn't
hat.
do this.
We didn't, but we need to, I need to make another hat for a present, and I think this is a good idea because I don't like knitting the same thing twice. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyways, 2 more things somebody addressed, and I think we're gonna address this in the next episode, is one is color work, how do you pick the color? And I linked to a Fruity Knitting podcast with Interview with Hazel Tyndall, which is the authority on how to pick color. So you guys can watch that. I think everybody should watch that.
I think it's a very individual...
Yeah, but she gives general guidelines. I think there's a general guideline, though, that because some color work does not look good, and some does. Or you like all color work?
No, but
but how to combine. I think they meant how to combine colors. And then I'm going to do a little demo probably next episode because we don't really have a lot of time. And Magic Loop, we also going to discuss Magic Loop and DPNs. We have strong opinions about each.
Yes.
As I prefer DPNs and she does Magic Loop. So we can talk for a long time about this. So we don't really have time, but I will do a little demo next. We should probably do one next week or something.
Okay.
Yeah. But today's episode was pretty short. Thanks for joining us, and I hope to see you in the thread tomorrow. Come and show your yarn. Knit both hats, knit one several times. We love to see all of those hats.
And post on Instagram. Are we gonna create the tag for the
we have the same tag. It's Tri-Cities HAT KAL. Okay. We always use the same tag. So I will post that in the thread as well. And so today's the official gift knitting start.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.
Bye.